Good afternoon and welcome to the first cut analysis of the CAT 25 afternoon session. I'm Ramnath from Time Hyderabad, and I'm joined by Sai, who is the Center Director of Delhi. He is on ground at the center, and he will be giving us all the information and insights into how the CAT behaved this afternoon. All right. So with that, let's jump in right away. So in CAT 25, after having seen the morning slot, we will now analyze the afternoon slot. So Sai, overall, how was the test taking experience and were there any surprises? We have been told that the morning slot was fairly similar to what the students have seen in CAT 24. Now, did you kind of notice that in CAT 25? What is it that the students are telling us?
Good afternoon, Ram. Good afternoon to everyone watching this. I think in the afternoon slot as well, it was similar to last year. Not much of a hassle. It was a smooth experience at the test centers. I think all feedback of many years has been gathered and implemented. So students had a very smooth time. And the IIM authorities, the test center authorities, stuck to the guidelines given in terms of what was allowed to be brought into the center and what was not allowed. I would say the check-in process was very smooth. The placing of students in the regular slots was done very nicely. There wasn't an issue. I, as a test taker, had a small hitch. My system was not working from the word go. So they, within a minute or so, they assigned a new system and got me started without me losing any time. So I think the experience is very good.
Okay, and how about the surprises that the exam threw at the test takers?
Surprises, not in terms of how the structure of the exam went. From last year, students are used to 24 questions in verbal, 22 in DILR, and 22 in quant. So the IIMs have stuck to that formula for this year as well. However, there are changes in terms of how they would have constructed the individual sections based on the IIM authorities, their own feedback from last year.
Okay, so net overall, what you say, Sai, is that the pattern that we show here on the screen, the 68 question pattern, 22 in quant, 22 in DLR, and 16 plus 8, 24 in VRC, that has not been changed. Is basically
that has not been changed at all, and they've stuck to that. Yes.
All right,
and so on those terms, there's no surprise for students.
Okay, so that would have been a big relief for those of you who have been preparing for months without knowing the exact number of questions that the CAT is going to throw at us. So that would have been a good relief because you need not have to change your test taking strategy on the fly. So which means that's a great incentive, particularly for those who have well prepared and gone in with a well honed and sharpened test taking strategy. All right. So with that, now let's Sai dive into the individual sections. Okay. So let's start off with VARC. What is the input that you have for us on the VARC?
Let's start with the structure itself in terms of how many RC passages. We had 4 RC passages with 4 questions in each of them. So that is about 16 questions. And the remaining 8 questions came from the verbal ability area. This year we have para-jumbles, we have the odd man out, then we have sentence placement. So these are the various areas that are there that came in.
Along with the paraformation questions, which were
along with the paraformation questions.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And
so in terms of structure, not much of a difference. Yeah.
Not much of a difference. One thing which came out in the morning slot, Sai, was that in the odd one out questions, the instructions were different. Meaning they were a case where a question had students to answer what was the odd statement, and another odd one out question where the students were to input the order of the passage after having removed the odd statement. Is that was that seen in this slot as well, or do you have any?
I didn't see it that way. The odd man out was pretty clear in the afternoon slot. I didn't notice this particular aspect, which has been reported to you.
All right. So let's see if we get more inputs on that, folks. But surprise-wise, I think there is a minor surprise here this year where PFQs, which were missing last year, came back into action. Otherwise, overall structure-wise, you're saying that there's not much of a surprise otherwise in terms of the passages.
Not much of a surprise.
Can you give us more information about the areas where the RC passages were from?
One of the RC passages was from. So generally, I felt that the RC passages focused on sciences, language. So there's one RC passage on AI and how AI is transforming languages, and how AI is being used, or how AI is using language, and how AI is unable to match human output.
So
So something,
mix of
something
science
on
and
that
culture.
order.
Mix of science
Yes,
and
and it
culture,
was
I
not
guess.
easy to read. You have to read
Okay.
very carefully. So
Mhm.
I would notice that in all the four RC passages in the afternoon slot, the ability to read quickly, those who are strong in the verbal area, those who
Mhm.
read quickly, their
Mhm.
advantage would have been relatively, whittled down, because they had to watch out and read carefully, read slowly,
Okay. So
because it was quite heavy on logic.
what you're
There
saying
was
is
a
those,
second.
Sai,
Yes,
what you're
Ram.
saying is those who would have felt that they had an edge over the others because of their higher reading speed, they also would have been slowed down when they came across these kind of
That's
passages, which were
exactly what I felt, Ram, when I saw the
very slow.
passages. That somebody with a great reading speed,
Hmm.
but who skims passages, probably that was not a very good strategy in this paper, because inherently, in the very first 2-3 sentences, you would realize that if you read quickly, you will not probably get the essence of what the author was saying. So you had to literally
Okay. So
slow down
also
several
then, therefore,
notches.
what I hear you therefore saying also, Sai, is that skimming is not a recommended strategy for such passages. The students had to kind of roll their sleeves up and jump right into the passage and read through it thoroughly, and only then would they be able to answer these
While I
questions.
wouldn't put it that way as a strategy, skimming as a
Mhm.
strategy works with one more element there, one more variable, which is the
Mhm.
nature of the questions. If the nature
Okay.
of the questions are not straightforward, it's very difficult. The choices are convoluted. Then
Mhm.
skimming as a strategy does not really work while reading.
Right.
So
Right.
this time the questions appear to be a little convoluted.
Mhm.
It would make the exercise. You would have to
Okay.
come back and read very, very carefully.
Okay. 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 Sai, if you can, I see that you are in motion because your signal, I think, may get be weakening. If you can just pause or stop beside the road for a second. I know you are in a rush to come back
Yeah,
to the
I'll just
studio
stop.
and join us. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'll stop
Uh,
beside.
just,
I'll
yeah.
stop
Just to make
somewhere, and
sure.
then I'll.
Yeah. Just to
Yeah,
make sure
just
that
give
we
me
don't lose your
30
audio.
seconds.
Yeah. 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 So, folks,
Is the
the
audio
summary.
clear now?
Yes, yes, it is clear now. You can stop here if you can. All right. So now
Yeah, I'm stopping. Yeah.
the point is that um, the summary of the VRC is that in terms of the overall structure, there is no surprises. However, there are minor elements that students need to be careful about, which is what we anyway keep telling students all through their the period where we keep guiding them in terms of the importance of changing and modifying the way they approach questions. Skim when you can, and do not skim when you should not. So that is a call that students need to be taking on the fly after having not only just read the passage, but also having gone through the questions, which is exactly what Sai is trying to say, where you look at the questions and then decide the strategy, whether it should be skim or go through the passage completely. All right. So now we have all of you watching this video. So put in your comments how many passages you have been able to attempt, 2, 3, 4, and how many VRC questions you have been able to attempt, which of those passages that you felt were tough nuts to crack, you kind of had to jump out of them because you felt them to be very difficult. All right. So with that, Sai, let's move to the next section. So overall, what you're saying, I kind of try to capture here two passages which were tough to read. Sai,
Yes.
any thoughts on the easy to read but tough questions passage? How was it? Can you describe that for us?
There was a passage on cave fish and how evolution has made their eyes obsolete, in the sense that they don't require the eyes anymore. So this was a passage focusing on evolution, focusing on cave fish not having eyes. So while the passage was easy to read, uh, the questions were pretty. I would say they were taxing. You had to literally read carefully, because the author's opinion was asked, and there were questions where they said that which of the following, if true, would the author most likely to disagree with or agree with. So there were some double negatives put in the question as well, and that made interpreting the question one as a important task. Number two,
Okay.
once you get the interpretation right, then to search for the right answer amongst the choices.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
choices appear to be a little too close in terms of how they were constructed. So that would have also created an issue for students.
Okay. So closer choices, not so direct questions, both these combined with an
Yes.
easy to read passage. So that's
Yes.
not a mix that we would be comfortable with. We would actually like it the other way, where
Absolutely.
where the passage was tough, but then when we look at the questions were kind of easy to read and therefore answer, so that we can find, let's say, at least score one or two questions out of the set, which I think the input that we're getting from Sai is that that was not possible in this set. All right, Sai. So let's now move on to the remaining two sections, the other two sections, starting off with LRDI. This is the distribution in LRDI, Sai. What are your inputs on these?
I agree with that distribution that was there. The Venn diagram set didn't look like a classical Venn diagram set. It was shown as a stacked bar, as a bar graph, and from the bar graph you had to reconstruct and create that Venn diagram.
Oh, so it was not a Venn diagram was not given, but a bar
not
chart
at all.
was given, out of which a Venn diagram was to be constructed. Okay.
Correct. One Venn diagram was to be constructed, and the missing elements of that Venn diagram were to be populated with some statements which were to be interpreted, which were to be sorted out. So that was not, I would say, a straightforward set at all. But yes, it is something that students would be familiar with in terms of the mechanics of how it works.
Okay.
Then there was a set on pollution of particular city. It was like a quant caselet where there are three districts, and the districts have.
I guess you're talking about the last one that
set, the caselet. Yeah, it has multiple cities. So the pollution was measured as a weighted average of the cities versus the rural areas, something of that sort. So it was not straightforward at all. It will take a lot of time to be able to work out the logic behind this particular caselet. So I would say, put that the caselet was not easy to look at, not easy to read, certainly not easy to solve.
Okay. And how about the two LR sets that are there, that were there rather?
The set on comparisons, which involved balls and going through certain hoops. So if a ball goes through a certain hoop, it's a smaller size, and they said it registers a ping. So the data was given that a certain balls were B1 to B6 and hoops were H1 to H5 or something, H4. And whenever they would say that balls 1, 2, and 3 went through hoop 4 and they scored a ping, which is to be interpreted as those balls being smaller in size than the hoop.
Smaller than the hoop. Yeah.
So effectively, you are basically doing a comparison table for all the balls versus the hoops.
So that's
one certain line.
That sounds to be doable, Sai. Was it doable?
It's doable. It's doable. But a couple of places you might have an overlap in terms of not able to place the relative sizes of the ball in the hoop for 2 or 3 cases.
Okay,
in which case,
we also have Vinay Raj from Bangalore who has joined in. So let's say hi to Vinay Raj. While we come back to you for the LRDI. Yes, I continue with the scatter charts, the comparison, please. Sorry.
So that way, that table was, that comparison question was easy to solve. I would say I would put it as easy. But only if you watch for those overlaps in terms of certain balls and hoops, you would not be able to resolve completely. And the questions are based on those unresolved parts.
Okay, all right. So this was overall moderate to difficult set or an easy to moderate set?
I would say it's a moderate set because it is still doable.
All right. So essentially, you're saying this is a out of the 5 sets. Would you say that this is the most doable set?
Yes, number 3 on your table there is the most easy
number 3
set,
on the
most doable set. The next one would probably be the scatter chart, number 2. And the scatter chart was on the sustainability index. They defined something called as a sustainability index for A, B, C, D, E, and F. And this A, B, C, D, E, F sustainability index changes from year to year. 3 years were mentioned, 16, 20, and 24. And in that, they said how it changes over 16 to 20 and how it changes from 20 to 24 is represented on a scatter chart.
Is this the set that you said looks very, very similar to one of the sets that we have given to our students in the advanced sectional test this year?
Not this one. The question number 3. The comparison
Number
set.
three, okay, the comparison.
That's what
The
looks similar.
comparison. Right.
And number
So
4, the
one
distribution
point,
set.
one point about this set, folks, is that the feedback that we have got from the morning slot was that there was one set which was easy to moderate, and the feedback that we are getting here from Sai and from other people on the ground, including our students, is that the most doable set is not easy to moderate, but moderate, which means the difficulty level has seen a shift in the upward direction, right? That is for LRDI. So net Sai, would you say that the LRDI section has been tougher compared to last year?
I would say in terms of being able to pick 1 or 2 sets to which you can score some 6 to 8 questions, that ease doesn't appear to be the case this year. So
That doesn't
students
appear
would
to
be
be the case.
struggling, and what would have been done probably last year in say 6 and 7 minutes, which we would classify as an easy moderate question. Those questions this year would probably require anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, okay, that's a significant increase in the time that is required per set, which would we think push the difficulty level of the set up north. All right.
Yeah, the investment in the sets to be able to solve them would go up significantly.
Would go up. So let's
thereby restricting the number of attempts.
Okay, so therefore, would you see the distribution here that we have made for these sets? You think this is what it is in terms of?
More or less, I would agree with this one.
So 2 sets in the M and M plus level and 3 sets in the D and D plus or VD level, right?
Yes.
So
the scatter chart, which you put it as M plus, to some, it would appear to be a difficult set. The only reason why it gets into the moderate area is because while assigning values in the scatter chart for those cities from A to F, they were given values for integral values from 1 to 100. However, if you choose multiples of 10, you could easily fit in certain values and reconstruct the entire chart. If somebody took that approach,
so basically the approach
would have mattered.
The approach is what matters. So there is an easy approach.
There's an easy approach. Yes,
not the easy approach. So if you happen to strike, if it strikes you that this is the approach, then I guess you will save time and crack it. Otherwise, you kind of end up burning time. All right.
And your percentage skills from the quant section play a role in this scatter chart.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is where the synchrony of synchronization.
Ram, if you're good with percentages, you understand how to apply them. Consecutive percentage changes. This will probably take 6 to 7 minutes to solve.
Excellent.
But if you don't get the idea,
so that
you get stuck.
Correct. All right. So that is the input that we have on the DLR section, folks. Not so difficult. Not so easy compared to last year. Looks like the cutoffs are going to drop because the difficulty level graph or the needle is pointing in the upward direction. So now let's move on to the quant section. We will hop on to the feedback coming in from Vinay, who's the head of quant in Bangalore, right? So here, Vinay, is this the distribution that you would have seen in the...
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, completely agree. There are 3 numbers questions.
Yeah. Now, folks, 3 numbers questions. Now, this is a significant shift from what we have seen in the morning slot. There was only 1 question from numbers in the morning slot. And now here there are 3 numbers questions. There was 1 modern math question from PNC. 1 minute, let me go back to the slide. From PNC in the morning slot. And that seemed to be missing here in the afternoon slot. So it was 1 minute. So it was 1 and 1 in the morning slot, which became 3 and 0. That is a significant difference. Significant difference from what perspective? From the comfort level of the student perspective. If I am somebody who's strong in numbers, then I think 3 questions from numbers is definitely of great help for me. If I am somebody who struggles with PNC, absence of PNC questions is of a great boon to me. And if I am somebody who has both these qualities together, then I got a jackpot in this section. Right. So that way, this section could potentially help some people, and it may not. Obviously, the contrary could also be true. So, when coming back to you, how was the difficulty level of these questions compared to last year?
Definitely a couple of notches higher than last year.
Couple of notches higher than last year, Vinay?
Yeah.
What makes you say that? I mean, is it the lengthiness of the questions?
See, it's maxima, minima dominating even in arithmetic question. There's a lot of maxima, minima coming in.
Okay.
So and even the numbers question, the number of factors of the form 3r plus 1.
Okay.
So there was an expression given n is equals to 2 power some value, 3 power something, 5 power some, and 7 power something. How many factors of such number are of the form 3r plus 1?
Okay.
Okay, so not a straightforward one. And also sum of the digits of a number expression was also given.
Okay. So,
So
overall, you're saying
all the numbers questions were difficult.
all the numbers questions. How about the questions in the from
Arithmetic? There were a couple of easy questions from arithmetic, where ratio of expenditure and income was given. And again, the trap was the students tends to take ratio of incomes and ratio of expenditures as two statements given, but the link was income of one with the expenditure of the other was given. So that was a trap involved. If somebody sees through the trap, that was an easy question to solve.
Yes.
Okay. So
And
students,
there was one question on time and work, which was easy. A is twice as fast as B. B is twice as fast as C. All three of them work for 20 days. Somebody leaves, the work gets completed in 60 days. So that was probably the easiest question.
Probably,
So
easiest in the lot is that.
Yeah, easiest of the lot. But there was a domain question where f of g of x and g of f of x was given.
Okay.
And the expression was x by 2x minus 1. So the domain
So there were
question
questions
after a
on
long
functions
time
basically
from
from moving to algebra then with that on that queue. So
Yeah.
how are the questions from algebra overall? Out of
Algebra, a lot of maxima minimum.
Oh, in algebra again there were a
lot of maxima minimum.
Okay. So
Okay,
the
so
lot of
that
maxima minima questions and a lot of tougher numbers questions.
Numbers questions tougher. Geometry as well. Geometry, there were two tangents and a tangent was drawn in between. Angle was given. Of course, this is one of our study material question.
Okay.
But
A straight
that is
question from
categorized as a
study
difficult
material.
question from study material.
Okay. All right.
And construction had to be made in one of the geometry questions.
Okay. That's very heartening to see many more questions coming in this year's CAT also, right from our study material, from our online sectional test also, folks. As Sai has pointed out, at least a couple of sections, one or two questions in the LRDI section are
two
from
DI sets.
Two DI sets, not questions. Sorry, thanks for the correction, Sai. Two DI sets are from our study material. Very, very similar to the questions that are from our study material in terms of the set construction, the question construction. And now Vinay Raj is also confirming that a straight question straight from our study material has been given. So that's a great news for all of you who have been using our material, because you would be able to, as soon as you see the question there on screen, your eyes would lit up because you have seen this question earlier. Of course,
and also in the aimcats, I would like to add, students generally don't like the maxima minima questions that appear in aimcats. And if somebody has gone through the rigors of all the 25 aimcats where he or she would have seen umpteen number of maxima minima, you won't be troubled so much. You will absorb the shock and work out your way.
All right. So that's great news coming in, folks. Many questions from our material, from our aimcats, from our sectional tests. So that is something which makes us happy this evening. So just a quick summary about the difficulty level in quant. Overall, the questions are not lengthy questions, but there are some doable questions also overall, Vinay. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, however, there are some doable questions, definitely. But I am saying, there is a shade easier.
Easier or tougher? So that is a question mark there. I think the question mark was missing. Let me see if I can put that question mark in. So, or was it easier is what the question is.
No, or did the Bangalore weather make me numb in the quant section? It's raining cats and dogs here. And
no, most likely no. So whether it is easier or not is something that we'll have to
Ram,
wait.
I feel that compared to last year, decrease in the ease with which you get questions in arithmetic, the ability to solve them, that has gone down this year. So that would affect your ability to score marks. The attempt should come down. That's my that feel from this particular section. So consequently, I would say I would put it shade more difficult than last year average slot one.
But I'm convinced that it's more difficult than last year. How many notches above the last year level is again
open for debate. All right. So that's all we have now, folks. For what's next, here we have our CAT percentile predictor, percentile estimator live, which means you can get your an estimate of your CAT percentile right now today. You don't need to wait for the response sheets. You don't need to wait till the actual CAT percentiles are out. You can input your number of attempts along with the expected accuracy. We hope that the accuracy is very, very high, your expected accuracy. So put those numbers you input and you get the expected percentile ranges for the raw score that those two numbers will eventually give us and give you. All right. So do use that to know the percentile that you're going to most likely be ending up with. And after that, we have a lot of analysis lined up. We'll be going live with the cutoff analysis very shortly, followed by, and even before that, we have a session on strategy inputs. Strategy inputs from the surprises or the lack of surprises that the afternoon slot and the morning slot have thrown at us. All right. So that's what we'll be going live with next in the next couple of minutes. So thank you, folks. All of you, do make sure that you follow our CAT analysis page, timeforeducation.com/cat2025. Make sure that you subscribe and like our YouTube channel, Time for Cat, because there will be a host of inputs coming your way. Make sure that you utilize these inputs and do well. All the best and thank you. Thank you, Vinay and Sai.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Raman.